In October 2009, the Siddhartha Art Gallery organized an international art festival with the theme Separating Myth from Reality, Status of Women. Artists from 25 countries participated in this two-week exhibition, which was held in 6 different venues across the city. The event was well attended and received extensive coverage locally and internationally. Encouraged by the success of the festival, the Siddhartha Art Foundation was established in October 2011 as a non-profit organization committed to promoting the contemporary arts in Nepal and in establishing Kathmandu as an international contemporary arts hub. Over the last year, the Siddhartha Art Foundation has been working with a team of art managers to host the second Kathmandu International Art Festival, titled Earth, Body and Mind. The foundation seeks to inspire the next generation of artists and art managers to come forward and to take the contemporary Nepali art to an international level.
Was to create a mega event that would establish Nepal as a contemporary arts hub. It began really in 2007, and I think, unlike a biennale which doesn't have a theme, we're calling it a festival so that we can address critical issues, socio-political issues, with each edition that we do. This time it's a very critical concern: global warming and climate change. Because we are going to be exploring issues that are of socio-political concern to us as Nepalis and to citizens across the world, we have been very careful about artists who are working with this particular theme, artists who are working with land, artists who are working with water issues, and we had a panel of judges who also selected the artworks based on the theme that we put up. And I think we have been very fortunate to have artists like Richard Long, who has been a patron of the festival. We've had the participation of artists like Chris Dury, David Nash, and Shiba Chachi, several others across the countries who have taken part in the Kathmandu International Art Festival. With each festival, we will address a critical issue. The first, as I said before, was about the status of women. The second is about global warming, the environment, climate change. The third will be completely different. We want to be different from the biennales that happen in Bangladesh, different from the Delhi Art Summit, which is commercial. What we do is not for profit, and I think it is very important to retain our identity with the sort of socio-political commitments that we have with each edition of the work that we take up.
What attracted me to becoming the coordinator and sort of wanting to coordinate the festival was the fact that it is non-commercial. So the fact that it is an opportunity for us to come together in a space that's not just about one institution. So there is an opportunity for the festival to be a place where many different institutions and many different people can come together and share something about their work. So it's about Nepali contemporary arts and about an issue. So that was what was exciting for me, and my background is actually education. I'm actually an educator. So for me, actually, this whole festival is an opportunity for us to share the arts with a larger community, with our community, and broadening our community in Nepal.
We didn't know till 3 months before that it would be in 16 different locations. It was something we hadn't even conceived. But, you know, it happened. And by the time we realized that it would have to be stretched out in 16 different locations, it was too late to say we can't do it. And just finding the venues proved to be very challenging. It was sheer luck that the Kathmandu Valley Preservation Trust, which was restoring an annex of the Pathan Museum, Mulchok, it was also lucky that we found the space in Metro Park. You know, they were in between leasing it to someone, and I just happened to walk in there, and before the new leasers came in, we said, could we please use the space for a month? We paid a nominal rent and we got it. Those were the challenges: how to house the work, how to you know, present it in a very professional manner. When all these people from all over the world came for the International Art Festival, could we pull off an A-class event for Nepal?
So I was assigned to design the venues and look at artists in different venues. Nearly 100 artists from different parts of the world coming in, bringing their various kind of works. You know. So there are a few galleries that we could allocate the works properly, or it was easier to do. But few other galleries were the empty space, like a new built houses, and other space where we had to design the whole exhibition areas. Pathan Museum was very overwhelmed by their own kind of designs and motifs. So putting works in different venues and trying to look at with how it can come out with that background was challenging for me. A hard-working part for me was designing Metro Park, which is new complex, empty space, and we need to design the whole space for the exhibition area within that 7 days time. You know. So all of our students and even carpenters and other people, like, they were so supportive and so enthusiastic about converting that empty space into design and slick gallery. So finally we could come across with good design and allocating the works itself.
A symposium is basically a forum for discussion. So what we wanted to do was to create a space where we put together different topics. For instance, one of the topics was arts and social change. So there were many different themes that we had: arts and social change, geopolitical landscapes. There was one session called Arts and the Natural World with Dr. Dina Bangdel and Alka Pandey, which Abhi Subedi moderated. It was a great discussion. So really, for the audience, it was a chance to come and listen to, you know, art historians talk about their work, and also we made sure that at the end of each session there was, you know, at least 10 minutes for Q&A from the audience so that people could ask their own questions.
Once I came here to the festival, I was actually frankly overwhelmed. Because you see on the website, I couldn't imagine the scale. The scale right from the Summit Hotel to the Metro Park to the zoo to the Pathan Museum. You know, the venues that have been selected, the dinners that have been done. I mean, I'm not talking just about hospitality. Hospitality is one thing, but this is also a great opportunity where you are meeting almost 90 artists from 31 different countries. This is not a kind of an art fair, which is really where people go to buy and sell art, but this is a place where people are coming to exchange ideas, and the symposium is fantastic because there is an exchange, there's an actual sharing of people through the creative process. It's literally seeing the creative industry at its best. So I think this is a fabulous, it's a Shangri-La for anybody who's in the service of the arts.
you have to put that in the context that it has never been done in Nepal before. And then you put that in the context of I am absolutely not qualified for it. In terms of I've never studied this kind of a thing before. I've studied fine arts, and I've coordinated smaller things for myself, and I'm an arts educator, so I work with kids, so there's some management that goes on there. But at an organizational level, I have had no experience. And so a lot of this festival was about sort of trial and error, and about sort of reaching out to people who have nobody's done the whole thing before, but a lot of people have done lots of different things before. And that's what this festival is about. It's about like tapping in people's strengths. And so that's what we did. And so the whole body of the organizational structure of the festival has been absolutely based on people challenging themselves to do things they may have never done before, and people at the same time using their strengths.
For us, it was a challenge, definitely, because we've been working with a lot of photographers, curating their work, showing their work, but not at this scale. So it was definitely very exciting to be working at this scale. I think for Nepal, a festival of this scale is to be able to pull something like this off is a huge accomplishment. Of course, it wasn't all smooth. I think there were various lessons learned. Working with a lot of people is always challenging.
There were a lot of obstacles with the job I was overlooking, and the problem with that was it was very hard convincing people that this was a worthwhile event. Before it happened, we were approaching a lot of people for funding, for coverage, and it was hard explaining why we were doing such a massive festival, and which was non-profit and based on such a theme that has usually been taken up by science and not art. Especially in the context of Nepal, we wanted to tell people that art was something that can change perceptions. So with sponsors, it was the same story, trying to fundraise, trying to tell them that this is a good way of getting exposure and also promoting a good cause. It was really hard to explain to them, and the problem was just not limited to a specific group. It was the same problem was everywhere. It was no one really understood the significance of doing something like this.
I think what was very encouraging for me personally was that there were 100 volunteers from Kathmandu University, from Lalit Kala. There were ex-students from KU and Lalit Kala who all came on board and said, I believe in this event. This event is for Nepal. It's by Nepalis, for the Nepalis, and for the international community. Let's work together and make it happen. And I think we put on an incredible show. We had a whole team of young art managers and art leaders whom we brought into the picture. So I wasn't doing it alone like I did the first time round. I think the whole team grew together and became a very dynamic composite organization.
We decided to bring a series of 14 portraits of indigenous people in the Xingu area of Brazil. Now, how to bring them? If we made these big photos all framed and classically put on the walls, it would be okay, but it would be bureaucratically very difficult to take them out of Brazil, to bring them into Brazil, and very expensive also. And so we decided to make scrolls. Somehow, in some way, there are probably similarities to Nepalese traditions. For instance, these silent photos, scrolled, are counterpointed with a 1-hour video documentary that we made in '77 in the same area.
My work embraces representation, performance, photography, drawing, constructing of objects, and anything that I can find that will express what I need to say. In the case of the festival, I am presenting 3 large format photographs that are the testimony of a performance that I did, transforming myself into part of the landscapes, addressing subjects of migration and displacement and how you cope with your new territory. And then I did a piece in collaboration with local women in Patan, and that was a wonderful and sublime experience. So, and I am very happy to be here because I really consider that this is the most serious experience, and the connection with other artists have been profound, harmonious, and overall I think that I have learned a lot.
In terms of, for my work, which is in this festival, it's called Float, and it's a video installation. And the video component of it has two parts, like 2 sources. One of them is I focus on the river, actually the wastes in the river, which I treat as objects, like found objects, because they have been part of people's lives and then have been discarded. So I sense like a lot of this like sense of abandonment and desolation and sadness associated with it, or that's how I filter it into the images I capture. And then the other thing I focused on is some of these concrete-like houses, which to me represents like the different, concrete infrastructures that we build around the city, houses or roads. To me, these are like 2 really strong trends that's happening in the city. I think it's oriented towards the West, this like idea of development as a concrete, infrastructure all over the city, and seeing that as a developed cityscape. And I feel like there is also a disconnect between the 2, right? So I basically wanted to bring these 2 together and see what sort of things happens when they're juxtaposed.
My work is photograph and video work. The concept of my work for the festival is about photosynthesize. If people can photosynthesize, if people can produce food, energy from light and air and water, it may be happier than now. That's the concept. So I actually planted the plants or fruits, seeds to my actual body. I just tried, but it didn't grow. You can see my work, the process of my work here, in the festival, you can see.
What I've brought here is a work called Neelkant, Poison Nectar. It's an installation that works with an old story, a story which is old but still retold from Hindu mythology. It's the story which you may be familiar with of Samudra Manthan. The gods and the demons decided to work together. Normally they were always at war, but they needed to cooperate, because only then could they extract Amrit, the elixir of immortality, from the cosmic ocean. So they began to churn, and many things happened and many wonders appeared. But as they churned, slowly the ocean began to heave and boil and bubble and spit, and everything around fell into it, and it turned into this black flaming mass of poison, because their motivation was greed. And this poison threatened to destroy the world. Shiva was the one god who was not part of this. He was moved by compassion for the fate of the world, and he opened his mouth and he took the poison in. He kept it in his throat because he couldn't take it into his entire body. It was too much even for him. And that's when he started being called Neelkanth, because his throat turned blue with the poison. So I use the story as an allegory for our current urban condition, where through our greed, through our desire for a certain kind of material condition, we have in fact generated a huge amount of poison. So if we think of the old alchemical philosophic wisdom, that is, nectar can turn into poison. We were looking for nectar and we've produced poison. So can we today turn it around? Can we make nectar from poison? This is the question that the installation tries to raise, and it works at multiple layers. One is, of course, the displacement of this old story into the contemporary city. The city is configured out of a very poor material, a material that masons use to smooth cement, aluminium pipe, very ordinary, basic to most construction in Delhi and maybe elsewhere. And those are turned into 260 light boxes. Each of these aluminium towers carries within it a small light bulb, and it carries an image of one of the sense organs, the five senses, which in Indian and subcontinental philosophy are equivalent to the five elements. So here I am evoking a sense of the body, of the city as a body, as a sensorial organism, which is fragmented, and yet the form of the installation reorders this fragmentation into something which is taken from the mandala. So it is centrifugal, so you are drawn towards the center of the installation, where you see a video. The video is of a throat, which is both painted, and projections on the throat are drawn from the biggest garbage landfills which surround the city of Delhi, where garbage is in essence becoming land. So these images combine with painting on the throat, and the throat continuously struggles to swallow, to ingest, in an endless loop. There is a moment when the throat, which is both archetypal and human, is revealed as human, and then returns to this continuing struggle.
This particular installation deals with the whole issue of climate change, which is not only just important for Nepal, but all over the world, and it's a question of survival of humanity. And in this particular piece, the shades of seed, what I'm trying to do create is I show that what kind of effect we will have if we lose the glaciers, specifically the Himalayan glaciers, which feed all the major rivers in the South Indian subcontinent. We lose water, that means drought and effect on the humanity. So I've tried to bring those different elements, the issue of biodiversity as well as cultural diversity, which is very important in terms of survival of humanity.
This particular work is called We May All End Up in the Same Boat. It focuses on the idea of people who are refugees or have refugee status because of environmental concerns or because of extreme weather. The idea came to me a few years ago when there was a really big flood near Brisbane, which is near to where I live, and lots of people lost their homes and had to be relocated. And what really cemented the notion for me was earlier this year when there was a big flood or lots of water inundation anyway on the east coast of the USA, particularly in places like New York City. What was really interesting then was that I was listening to the radio and there was a commentator from the 911, someone high up, whoever 911 is administrated by, saying, please don't call 911 because we cannot come to help you. So that's what this work is about. It's about the idea that we are going to experience extreme weather, which is going to put all of us in a situation where no one can come to help. I've also made a film for this. You don't have to rely on the digital component for the installation to be effective, but the digital component just adds a new dimension, and actually in this work it completely changes the work.
I did a piece, an installation, which is made out of oxygen masks, which are hang on the ceiling, and the idea was to create experience for the public, so that they can enter the room and actually be in the middle of those oxygen masks and move inside the installation and just live their own experience. So it can be different for everybody. The oxygen mask actually can look like lianas, like alien lianas, but some people also tell me that they feel they are under the water in a shoal of oxygen mask. And anyway, the idea was that by putting so many oxygen masks, which should actually give you more confidence, most of people experiment a lack of air, and this is what I wanted to do.
कहिले म आफुलाई हिरो सोच्ने, कहिले आफुलाई गड सोच्ने, कहिले आफुलाई एकदम अग्लिनेस सोच्ने, त्यो सोचाइमा आएपछि मैले स्टडी गर्न थालेँ संसारको चाहिँ धेरै हिरोको अनुहारहरू, गडको अनुहारहरू अथवा सेलिब्रिटी अनुहारहरू, जसमा क्यामरुनदेखि लिएर हाम्रो हिन्दू माइथोलोजीदेखि लिएर बुद्धिस्ट माइथोलोजी, विभिन्न माइथोलोजीबाट अनुहारहरूलाई चुज गर्न थालेँ. चुज गर्दै गएँ र त्यहाँको सुपर जुन मान्छेहरूको अनुहारलाई चाहिँ मैले चेन कभरको मोल्डबाट निकालिएको एउटा फिगर माथि राखिदिएँ. मैले यहाँ एउटा फ्रेमिङ राखेँ र टाइटल राखेँ, बन्दै पाक्दै बिक्दै गएका मान्छेहरू. त्यसैले त्यसमा फ्रेम राखेर बिक्री हुन खोजेको मान्छेहरू र प्रदर्शनी चाहिँ मेरो महत्त्वपूर्ण कुरा थिएन कि प्रदर्शनी भन्दा अगाडिको जुन ह्यापनिङ आर्ट जहाँ पोलिरहेको थियो नि, त्यहाँबाट आउने धुवाहरू, त्यहाँको साउन्डहरू, त्यहाँको इमोसन्सहरू जुन बन्दै गरेका थिए, त्यो कुरा चाहिँ मेरो अझै इम्पोर्टेन्ट थियो.
विशेष गरी म ट्रेडिसनल फिल्डमा काम गर्छु. नेपालको ट्रेडिसनल आर्टमा जुन प्रविधि छ, जुन आइडिया, जुन दर्शनका कुराहरू अभिव्यक्ति गर्ने कुरा छ, ती कुराहरू उहिले मात्रै होइन अहिले पनि एकदम सान्दर्भिक छ भन्ने कुरा म त्यो विश्वास गर्छु र त्यो मान्यतामा लागिरहेछु. र अहिले मैले यो फेस्टिभलको पेन्टिङ जसरी पुरानो मान्यताका कुरा जस्तै कमललाई मैले विशेष स्थानमा राखेको छु. मान्छेहरूको प्रतीकको रूपमा कमललाई लिएको छु. अनि तीनटा विशेष कमलको फुलबाट मैले विगत, वर्तमान र भविष्यको कुरा जोड्न खोजेको छु. ती कुराबाट बडी अर्थ माइन्डमा सामञ्जस्यता ल्याउन कोसिस गरिरहेको छु.
For this festival, I am making one installation, a sculptural installation where I made wax torso, and that will be lighted like for 1 month, and it will deform day by day. So concept is like, the title is Melting Identity, Socio-Cultural and Geo-Ecological Threat. Like this festival is more related with global warming and climate changing also, earth, body and mind. So I try to relate my work with this global warming issue. That I heard one news from media that within 50 years there will be no country named Maldives. Maldives is the South Asian country, and within 50 years, because of the sea level increase, it will disappear within 50 years, and it touched me so much. So I make this artwork from this issue.
our ancestors, they had really good philosophy and living with the nature, connecting with the nature. So all it was like all together, united. But then we started to lose it. And in today's modern society in Mongolia, young people, they don't know that they're losing their essential things, which is like the essential philosophy of Mongolians. So through art, we want to remind them like that Mongolia has its very beautiful things, a big philosophy, and our main concept is the connection, because we are all connected with the long sleeves. That means that 5 elements of earth and 5 elements, these are like in Asian philosophy, and this when we spread, it becomes a big circle, which means the eternity, it never ends. So why we're connected with the sleeves, long sleeves? Because all humans are connected with our hearts and mind. It's a networking, because all alone we cannot do anything, and it's a big connection. It's a connection also with the earth, nature. It's a connection with the tradition, and it's a connection of loving, respecting, trying to keep the tradition of our beautiful country.
This time I have the role as a curator, and at the same time I'm participating as an artist in this festival. We selected this group of artists because all of them, in all their work, is a strong connection to nature. Sjoerd Buisman, his work is for a big part is very scientific. He has a very scientific approach, while Maria, for instance, has that you will interview, is much more spiritual, emotional, very personal, completely something else. It's more like pure poetry, this what we have on the festival, this tree with the glass forms attached to it, is very poetic type of work. And then we have like Ilko Brandt, who is half a technician and half an artist. Most people, if they see his work, they have these moving landscapes that seems to have been made from photos, but there's no photo. It's completely digitally created. My work, I also consider myself as a more kind of romantic approach. I don't believe so much in political art. If you show the audience something of the wonders of the mystery of nature, it will help to appreciate these things. And that's what I do as an artist.
I came here 30 years ago. I climbed mountains, and I do still now. And I came on glaciers, and then the clouds are below me or up. And they also have a lot of shades. And those shades and moving landscape I'm really interested in. And I found as an artist a way to express these landscapes. And in paint, I translate the movements in a very serious way. I make it the paintings on my breath, so in a way you can see every breath in the painting. If you see a lot of these stops, I do it very, very slowly, and this is very fast then. So that is a kind of translation of the landscapes I really loved. And
Portable sauna in Nepal is using my experience that I had at a residency in Finland at the Artelis residency, and that experience of understanding what the sauna means, how the sauna becomes a social vehicle within that culture and that community, and then from there bringing that to Kathmandu to engage a new community within this project. So participants are invited to come to my sauna, they can change, and from there don a towel, enter, sit, and purify their body and listen and become witness to a conversation that is playing. So when they sit in the sauna, there is an audio that comes in many different languages about people reflecting and sharing their own personal experiences about climate change in their lives. So it's, for me, a way to bring it here, to become a social vehicle and engage different communities on different topics. So the audio that you listen to are different stories that people are sharing about how climate change has affected them, or how they have not experienced it within their lives. But it is more that they are sharing a personal story or a personal experience.
My name is Michael Campbell. I'm an artist from Canada, and I'm here working with another artist, Janice Ron, who you'll interview. We proposed to do a large-scale piece using natural materials and materials collected from the river, plastics and that sort of thing. So we came with nothing, no real tools, just thousands of ties for tying together this object. We also came with video that we shot in Canada. So we had one stage and then just drawings, and we were talking constantly about how we would, work locally and work with the materials. So we had a very loose idea about the structure. A lot of my work that I do on my own deals with vessels or ships. So the larger structure has some of those elements in there. It could be seen as maybe something underwater, maybe organic, like a whale or a living thing, or a constructed object. And as we were building it, we started using the courtyard and the trees. So one thing we liked about it is it looks like this thing should be free, but it's trapped and gravity is pulling it down. There's lines that could be rigging, or it could be trapping it as well. And then the last part is we've been taking and working with university students, weaving all this plastic that we've got from the river and lining the mouth of this vessel with it as if it's this garbage has become lodged within the animal creature.
Because we didn't want to create a dichotomy between good and bad, sort of purist environment. Michael and I have collaborated in the past on sort of conflating the natural and the pure nature with things that you find in nature, trying to make something new and try to have sort of a positive outcome from it. And so when we arrived, the first thing we did was look at how local people will adapt to recycling material. So we saw bicycles where they were braiding rubber to attach things, and so we were taking pictures of anything we could find where people were using recycled material. And so that's why we incorporated the idea of braiding plastic and using that as a structural element in the work.
If you walk by the bank of the rivers, you can see the piles of plastic bags, which will not decay and just stay there for years. So my work depicts when you dig out from land, you can see the pile of plastics there, staying there. So in this festival I have used mostly focused on plastic bags, like which we use, consume every day, and we just throw it. And these plastic bags are polluting our environment, also visually and also environmentally. And it's also a kind of reminding us that what we are doing is not right.
My work revolves around the new negotiations or the new utopian ideas of the contemporary living in these these times, the ecological changes, the political changes, and the social changes. So my work represents here absence presence. One is absence presence, which talks about the extinction of the birds of house sparrows. House sparrows, which are really little bird, and they are all around us. They were human friendly birds, but now they are no more around, and so 70% of the birds are out of the world. They are not living with human anymore because of the uneasy conditions of living for them. The point to do this work was to create a noise with that many birds, where there are 5,000-6,000 birds, and you have to walk through those mechanical birds so that you can understand the situation, that what we are giving to the future, because we don't inherit from our ancestors, we have borrowed from our children.
My artwork Ghost River is more like a reminder for the newer generation of Kathmandu dwellers and also people outside of Kathmandu that river like Tukucha once lived but now lives among us like a ghost, because the essence of river is now almost dead, and there are lots of river transforming into big trains. So all my work, through the voice of my work, I also want to aware people that they themselves are the cause for this.
My work depicts the interplay of the mind. Our mind moves in different dimensions. So the betterment of our life, we think a lot, we use our environment. So whatever we do, it's automatically effect on our environment. So my main concern is, let's be honest to our nature. Whatever we use from our environment, we should use it in wise way. So every day we're consuming a lot of things, and it's result in a pollution. So please be honest to our nature.
It was a cross-discipline work in video, music, performance, and also Max MSP, which is a form of programming. So we also had Carl Hyde from Underworld, who was the music director of the Olympics. He was reacting to the images, photography, all the video and sound we were creating remotely in England, and he was painting in response to that and feeding images into the live event.
So like I said, you can come and actually speak your tweet, if that makes sense, or just in the corner there you'll see the digital team, and we really want to send this message across with this great opportunity with all these artists that are here and everyone that's here, not only in Nepal but about our belief in art for social change, and for this tweet to stand as a part of the artwork.
We had musicians from Nepal creating a soundscape on the night. We had over 150 photographs playing out on the night, and also over 40 video paintings, all part of the live interactive installation in Patan Museum. The second work I did for Kathmandu International Art Festival was a work entitled Kora. We placed the nuns in position on the stupa, and with some programming done by one of the members of the Being Human Collective, Nick Rothwell, or Cassio, is the name he goes under, we turned their voices into circles of light. So as they sang, the circles of light responded to their voices. Their voices were controlling the circles of light, and we then projected that physically onto the stupa. So it really was their voices that you could see in real time as circles emerged on the stupa. So it was really amazing.
Art is elitist. You're only catering to the people who have the money. I never wanted it to be like that, but when we take the art to the community, then we are really taking it out of that elite white cube, and we're putting it out there for the public. The public is the most important body for the appreciation of arts in Nepal, or anywhere in the world.
So I would say that the KIF has been a landmark event in Nepal in the contemporary art scenario. because it could bring in different artists from one group and incorporate Nepali contemporary artists plus, and it gave wonderful opportunity for the new coming aspiring artists to work with different artists from international artists.
What I found through the festival is we have made an impact where people who have never been introduced to the contemporary arts before are coming into these spaces and trying to understand what people are making. And so to go there and to introduce that kind of work to children, I think is a service to everybody.
It's an opportunity for someone living in Nepal to actually be able to see and experience art in a way that isn't normally available to a normal, Nepali citizen, no matter how much they might love art.
What can art really do in the context of Nepal? We were trying to promote Nepali artists, and the great thing is, it really boosted our confidence in terms of Nepali art, because there were 31 countries exhibiting, and Nepal was one of them. We had the biggest group was Nepali group, and all the artworks stood the test of that global exposure.
And at the same time also, this time Kiaf brought in traditional artists plus contemporary artists. So it gave a very good mixture of different kind of background of Nepali artists to merge into together and raise a common voice.
Public perceptions are changing. Don't forget, this is the age of information. We can watch a show that's going on in New York City, sitting in the comfort of our home, and we're not a closed society anymore.
In general, I think that the impact of the festival is the work that's gone into it, the outcome, the people who came, the effect it's had on me personally as well. I think that it's quite something.
It has helped Nepali art to put into certain focus for the South Asian Peninsula, or even from the Asian side, Kathmandu International Art Festival to be organized by a handful of number and in the private sector. So I think this is very remarkable event that could ever happen in Nepali art. So I'm really looking forward to 2015 third edition of Kiaf, and hopefully lots of different artists and different renowned artists could come in, and this become a hub, and Nepal and those small pocket countries could become new hub for contemporary art.
I think these sort of changes, the impact is so huge that what I do today is just one thing. There's so many other influences coming in. People are looking at the Venice Biennale, they're looking at Art Basel, they're looking at Miami, they're looking at shows just in South Asia and comparing it to what we do. And I know that the next time we hold a festival, there'll be so many other Nepalis who will have attended something or the other, and they will bring back the experiences so we can improve.